Hey, Shalom, this is your brother Thon. First and foremost, want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, or Kahakwadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, I want to dive into 7 different points on how this devil is going to try to pull on the heartstrings of people to get them to go along with the New World Order agenda, to receive the charagma, which is the mark spoken of in Revelation 13 and 16, okay, and basically choose sides against the Most High. All right, so the first thing they're going to do, of course, you all know, they use propaganda. Governments also often use propaganda to shape public opinion, to promote particular ideologies or agendas, and you see that everywhere. Return all the way down to the kids shows. The alphabet agenda is high. I mean high level in everything that you see, even the adult shows, but specifically all the way down to the kids shows. The alphabet agenda, this genderless thing, is being pushed at a high level. Why? When you go to Romans 1, it goes into that lifestyle that people indulge in. And then it starts to list off all these characteristics that are contrary to righteousness, basically alluding to the fact that someone who's willing to live that lifestyle has no boundaries or lines they won't cross. They're a perfect vessel for Satan to use. And for this devil's plan to work, people have to be open to all this wickedness that he's pushing. They have to be open to take a stance against righteousness, right? And a perfect way to do that is to get people to be open up to that spirit of alphabetism, okay? Another thing they're pushing in the propaganda is of the term conspiracy theorists. You all know this as well. When people start to think for themselves or go against the grain of what's pushed in the media, and the media is owned both sides by the same people. You've seen numerous newscasters. They'll make a collage of all the newscasters across the country giving the same exact speech, word for word, bar for bar. Okay, so propaganda is a very is a primary way through the media that this devil uses to shape the minds of the people that the government govern. All right, mind control. That's what that word even goes back to. Let's go to Edom Online and actually get the word government. Okay, goes back to mind control, and that's what they do. Let's see here. See, look up the word government here. This is act of governing or ruling, a system by which a thing is governed. All right, then the word comes up: control, direction, administration. All right, steer, helm, govern, rule, command, direct. All right, steer, pilot. Okay, and let me see here. All right, so right now, all the wickedness of the wicked is being searched out. All the wicked of all the people on the earth is being searched out. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 62. It says, the spirit of the Almighty God, which made all things, and searcheth out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. Surely he knoweth your inventions, and what ye think in your hearts, La'ab, the mind. Even them that sin, and would hide their sin. Therefore hath the Lord exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame. Okay? So right now you have two opposing forces. You have those who are speaking the truth in the earth, which is a small remnant. And then you have the masses who are, dancing to the tune of the lies, and the wicked who are pushing the lies through propaganda. Now, a second point, all right, censorship is another heavy thing that they use, okay, to basically, control the minds of the people, or to persuade the people towards their agenda. This is another tactic that they use. The governments may control the flow. Now, this isn't the first time in history this ever happened, but especially here after 2020, what did you have on social media and throughout the internet? Somebody will put up some information, and at the bottom, there will be a tag saying what? Fact checkers. Fact checkers. Now, there's a video I seen recently, and I'm just doing this lesson off the top of a whim. I might come back and do a part 2 and add clips to it. All right? But it was recently a video I seen of one of the Twitter representatives of the old Twitter administration before Elon Musk took it over, that they were getting sued. A lot of the people that were over the fact-checking administration within Twitter, the government was sometimes they try to give the people trying to stand up for the evildoers, they'll try to give you like a win seemingly, right? But they were being sued for saying, hey, there were doctors that you were putting fact-checking borders underneath and questioning their authority that were trying to actually help and save people. Because as you all know, and this isn't medical information, I'm just reporting on things that I've seen as of late. All right? There was a case to where the fact-checkers were being, questioned about, hey, what medical degree do you have to sit there and put this notice on doctors that came from the highest, medical institutions that there is. Doctors from Harvard and Yale and all these medical institutions, you're putting, fact checkers underneath of the information that they're putting out, questioning their authority. All right? But they were set up to do that by, the wicked. Even going all the way back to John D. Rockefeller. All right? Yeah, the oil mogul. He's the reason why medicine nowadays is petroleum-based pills, right? Because all the holistic doctors back in the early 1900s, I believe, in the early 1900s, were basically blackballed or ostracized if they didn't push this new petroleum medicine. They were bought off, okay? And everybody who didn't want to take the payoff, they were demonized and blackballed, okay? Same thing, you saw a small example of it in 2020. Now, a third point is fear-mongering. Also, when that was going on, the pandemic, you had let me see here. How do I say this? They used all your favorite celebrities, all these people to basically shame people and say, these people are coughing up droplets, and do it on the media. They were saying, the unjabbed, the unjump shots. These people, they're menaces to society. They use that as a fear-mongering and as a shaming tactic. If you get people, you're basically committing suicide if you don't do this. Governments sometimes use fear to manipulate public opinion and gain support for their policies. This can involve exaggerating threats or creating a sense of crisis to justify actions, like it seems like they're doing with this eclipse that's coming, that might not otherwise be accepted by the population. Fear-mongering, that's the third point. Now, another one is symbolism, all right? The wicked, they're going to use symbols, and they already do, symbols and imagery and rhetoric, which you touched a little bit on already with the propaganda, to evoke emotional responses, okay? Not spiritual responses, but emotional responses, and create a sense of unity or national identity on the left and right hand side. That's what those parties are for. Flags, anthems, monuments, and other symbolic elements are employed to reinforce loyalty, pride in the state, or to put people in a category, or to get them to put themselves in a category. You understand? Okay. And also, I want to double back on that fear-mongering a little bit, especially in regards to Neuralink and the MOTB, how they want to merge people with machine. A couple years ago, we seen a parent who lost a child or relative, and they put her in this metaverse or this virtual simulation to where she could see her child again. You know what I mean? They're going to pull on heartstrings. They're going to use that technology for people who might be paraplegic and they'll reconnect the neurons in their brain so they can walk again. And what they're gonna do is say, look at these people who are speaking out against it. They don't want the world to evolve or advance. They don't want people like, and they'll pull up some guy with a sob story in a wheelchair. They don't want people like Jimmy here to walk again. They're gonna pull on the heartstrings of people. They're gonna play the nice music, the slow music with the piano. They get your eyes watery. They're gonna They're gonna pull out all the stops to get you to be sympathetic with their agenda, man. Like, oh, this isn't so bad. Like, these guys are overreacting. It's not that. And on top of that, you got Israelite groups, man, who are going to be used by the wicked, whether you believe it or not, to also fearmonger you and to try to pigeonhole you into going along with Esau's agenda. We've seen a little taste of it in 2020. ISUPK, what he said. Oh, they don't want you to take it. That's why they're giving it to the so-called white man first. That's what General Rihanna said. But we saw in the media, they specifically said that it's a priority that minorities get it. Man, all right? There's also going to be rewards and incentives to go along with their agenda. They're going to pull it all out, man. And we got 3 more points after I get into this rewards and incentives. All right? The wicked, they're going to offer rewards. They're going to put bounties on brothers' heads. And you can receive reward if you turn us in. To encourage compliance or support from the population, right? This can include financial incentives, social privileges, because it's gonna get to a point where people ain't gonna be able to go and come as they please. It's gonna be martial law for you to go and come, and you're gonna have to show some kind of identity, show that you even had a mark. It's gonna be like that, bro. Or other forms of positive reinforcement to influence, people's behavior, man. Rations. And of course, as you all know, the 6th point I want to get into is the demonization of their enemies, all right? Which we're their enemies. Jacob is their enemy, especially those who know they're Israelites, who are teaching the truth, who are standing against the evildoer, as the scriptures say. Let's actually go get that precept, all right? All right, this is Psalms 94:16. It says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me? It's going to be the elect, those who are sighing and crying for the abominations being done in the midst thereof. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, to get that. Because the elect, man, they're all going to have something in common. They're all going to be sighing and crying for the evils that are taking place on the earth. It's Ezekiel 9:4. It says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is a people before it is a place. All right? And set a mark upon the foreheads. Now, this mark in Ezekiel 9:4 is different from the mark in Revelation 13:16. Okay? Gotta go look up words, man. You're reading this Bible, all right, in English. It was written in Hebrew, New Testament in Greek. And you gotta understand, man, even to this day, our people what? We have, jargon terms or slang that we may use to describe a situation. You think they didn't have that back then? Now, when you go into Hebrew, you realize, oh, some of these things are, kind of like a slang or parabolic. So now, check this out. Not only are you reading slang, but you're reading translated slang. And on top of that, thousands of years removed from the slang that, references inside, jokes that you may not get. You're reading it thousands of years later where the words mean different things now to people. So you gotta go to the original language and look things up. You're reading a lot of times in the scriptures, you might be reading translated slang thousands of years out. And you think you're just gonna read it in English and get it? Come on, man. All right, Ezekiel 9:4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark. And this word mark here is the wa, and this is a mark of exemption from judgment. And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. You see? The elect are all going to have that in common. All right? Just like Lot. Lot was vexed from day to day with the filthy conversation of the wicked while he was dwelling in Sodom. Okay? It talks about that in Second Peter, Salakia, 2, and I'll start at verse 5. It says, "And spare not the old world, but save Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness." It's going through these examples of the Lord delivering the righteous. But what you'll notice is it's never a big number of people. This world was made for many, but the world to come for few. Bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, and this place is going to be burned with fire as well. This is spiritual Sodom, is it not? Pursuing the Revelation in the 11th chapter. Okay? And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly. And delivered just Lot, not just Lot because he delivered his 2 daughters as well, but just in the sense that Lot was a just man. And the elect in this time are going to be justified because they're not going to have any guile in their mouth. Not that they're perfect, but because they sung the new song in clarity. You understand? You can go to Revelation the 14th chapter and read about that. Okay? Verse 7 here in 2 Peter 2 and 2. Yeah, 2 Peter 2 and verse 7, so like it. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. There you go. All right? So again, we're talking about the demonization that's going to come. Governments often, especially America, the main corporation that the elites use, vilify external or internal enemies, man. And in the picture they paint of the enemies is never true. It's never the whole story. All right, and they use that demonization to unify the people against that person or that group. Rally the public support to go in and use their blessing, which is a sword. So they use that demonization to this is why we went in there and dealt with these people like this, because they're so bad, they're so evil. When in fact they're the ones who were bad and evil. All right, so they'll portray you in a particular way to justify the force that they want to use. Which when any other time it will be met with resistance. Like, hey, y'all can't do that. But once they paint this picture, man, there's no resistance of anything that this devil he's free to be the complete demon that he wants to be. Now, the 7th point I want to touch on is they'll raise up and use charismatic figures, people that you drawn to, people that you likable people. They'll use celebrities of Jake. That's why whenever they have an agenda, they'll put a Jake up and get him to push it. Charismatic leaders, right, and who are really not leaders. All right, they're using to sway the public opinion and garner support for their agenda, man. They'll put up a woman, a man who is real charismatic, and they'll say, hey, use this rhetoric we've been using, so that people will align, will see you, look up to you, and align with the agenda that we have to push. And you've seen that even in the scriptures, going back to the Greeks with Eleazar. Okay, when they want Eleazar to just act like he ate the pork in front of the people, because they were trying to really separate our people from their heritage when the Greeks were on the scene. Right? Let me find a little bit this and that. So look at the elders. Alright, this is really quick, guys. Oh no, that's not. It's Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter. It's Second Maccabees 6 in verse 18. It says, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of well-favored countenance, meaning people looked up to him. He was an aged man, meaning he had respect amongst the people. And a principal scribe. So people would look at Eleazar like, hey, this is an example of a man I should be like. So what they'll do in this time, which they got niggas propped up for our people to look up to, but they'll take a celebrity and they'll say, hey, we need you to push this agenda. And that's what's going on here in 2 Maccabees 6. So 2 Maccabees 6 and 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh, something that's forbidden amongst our people. But if they can get somebody that is high esteem in the community, it opens up the floodgates for everybody to do it. All right, verse 19. But he choosing rather to die gloriously rather than to live stained with such an abomination. Now the celebrities amongst Jake that our people look up to today, they don't have this kind of integrity or honor. Anything this devil tells them to do, they'll do it. All right? Because they want the goodies that he has to offer. A gift destroyeth the heart. Okay, 2 Maccabees 6:18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. Okay? And they took him aside after that, as it goes on to say. And say, hey, man, you don't got to eat the pork. We'll give you a different lawful meat. Just make it seem like you eat it. That's in verse 21. I'll just read it. It says, but they that had the charge of the wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, so they knew Eleazar, right? Taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, lawful meat, such as was lawful for him to use, and make it as if he did eat of the flesh, taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. You see, so this is the agenda. This is what they've been. These aren't new tactics that they use. It may get remixed a little bit because we're in a different time and there's different technology available. But they're gonna pull on the heartstrings of the people. Now I'll say this: due to all this AI being, accessible, artificial face, and they even got voice cloning now, as you all know. They could take. I'm gonna use the head of our organization. They could take Apostle Tahar's face in voice, make a deep fake video, and make it seem like he said something that he never said. And unless someone knows the script, have studied to show thyself approved, and know the scriptures for themselves, they could be deceived by that. Now, mind you, let's talk about another group. Let's say they put the bishop. They put his face and voice up and told everybody to do something amongst that congregation. You think the people won't go for it? You think they rooted enough to know the difference? Come on now. So I'm gonna rehash these 7 points, and then that'll pretty much be the lesson. A brother in the camp, beloved brother in the camp, asked me, because I did the lesson before, asked me, hey, where's that video that you did on this topic? And I don't know where it's at, man. So I said, I'll just redo it. So I'm gonna rehash these points. One, they use propaganda. All right, the government's gonna use propaganda in a bunch of different ways, through social media, through on the TV, okay, within the textbooks in the school system. All right, they're gonna put politicians up to speak about particular topics, and they're gonna use false flags, all that propaganda, right? They're also gonna use censorship, right? It's gonna be a wicked thing to speak about particular topics. People who actually do have the credentials and qualifications to speak on particular things, they're going to be questioned, okay, and made out to be, this guy's he's a sea theorist. All right, going to fearmonger you with those false flags and that propaganda, that narrative that they push of, hey, this is for your own good. If you do this, we're giving you safety. Exchange some of your freedom and your liberties for this safety we're going to give you. That's what it is. So they're going to fearmonger people into doing things, man. All right? Or you want your people to be sick? Or you guys want to be ostracized from society? Because we're not going to use cash anymore. You're going to have to take this mark. All kind of angles. Fearmongering, all right? Symbolism, of course. Okay? Again, governments use symbols and imagery and rhetoric to evoke emotional responses and to create a sense of unity and national identity. All right, they're gonna try to galvanize people under under that flag, under the anthems, under the. This is America. They're gonna try to get you through all kinds of means. Or even BLM, even though it's supposed to be set up for our people, but who was it funded by? George Soros. That was used to get a lot of people, Israelites, to back up the plight of alphabetism, because they basically merged the two. They merged our plight with the plight of the alphabet people. So they used you to forward their own agenda. All right, rewards and incentives. There are going to be bounties on the men of the Lord's heads, and there's going to be incentives for people to be against it. They're going to be incentives to seemingly uplift their life if they're against what we standing for righteousness. All right, demonization of our people. You all know about that. We don't even got to go too deep into that. And they're going to put people up in front of you, as they always do, even amongst our own people, that our people look up to push their agenda and to make it seem like it's something that's okay and cool and beneficial. All right? They're going to do all these things to pull on the heartstrings of the people. All right? So, Abarat Zah, the lesson was edifying. When to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, or Kaha Kodash. When to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.